Welcome to Cordell and Cordell's Men's Divorce Podcast, moderated by Managing Partner and CEO Scott Trout, bringing you information for guys before, during, and after divorce, and everything related to family law. This podcast is not to be taken as legal advice, and no attorney-client relationship is established.
Welcome back to the Men's Divorce Podcast. I'm Scott Trout, CEO and Managing Partner, Cordell and Cordell. And today it is the holiday season. We're going to talk to you a little bit about kind of the unknowns. What should I be doing? What shouldn't I be doing? Kind of in, maybe for newly separated, maybe in the middle of divorce, maybe newly divorced, thinking about it. Obviously, all these things tend to apply to those individuals going through it, especially in a very difficult holiday season. Where you're unfortunate to have to do that. And so I'm joined by Stephanie Horton up in North Carolina. Welcome.
Thank you.
Stephanie, let's talk about it. Let's kind of jump right in. It's a hard season, and especially for many people who have never gone through this, never faced this type of, issue that is emotional, it's stressful, physical, it takes a toll on you. And having never kind of gone through it, you just don't really know what to do. I have some friends going through it. And, we were just talking and I'm like, what are you doing for the holidays? I mean, it's a sore subject. And, do you dance around it? What do? Do you be direct? So obviously the biggest part is if you have kids, we'll start right with it. You want to spend as much quality time as you can with them, right?
That's accurate. I think that especially for newly separated people, there's oftentimes a desire to kind of outdo the other party when it comes to the material side of the holidays. And I think it's more important to focus on the time that you spend with the kids as opposed to the amount of money you spend on their presents. The reality of a divorce or separation is that things get very expensive. You're splitting household costs from 1 to 2. There are attorney fees, there are court costs, there are lots of additional expenses that are going to either come up in the near future or already being paid. And so it's just generally speaking, not a wise financial decision to overspend regardless. But also you shouldn't start the trend with your children of which Christmas is going to be better at mom's or at dad's. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what's going to be most meaningful for the children, especially since they're also going through this process and they're grieving this loss of the family unit, are the times that you spend with them, the fun things that you guys can do, baking cookies, watching movies, going out and looking at Christmas lights. Those things have minimal cost or no cost at all, but there are things that your kids are going to look back on, decades later and say, that was a really fun day.
Yeah, we did this in June when we did Father's Friday, celebrating the entire month of June and just celebrating dads. We talked about holiday traditions, which I think to me is something that every divorcing parent, mom or dad, whatever it may be, should think about and making something, as you suggested, something constant in their lives. Every holiday, we do X, Y, or Z. An escape room, you go see lights, and it's every holiday. So they look forward to that event, and it can be age neutral, right? So everybody, whether they're 2 or 29, can enjoy that event because holiday traditions, that's something you may or may not have done when you were as a whole family unit. So I think that's so important for them to, and there's plenty of websites out there to help you do that too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and to that point, with regard to traditions, make your own traditions. Do something that you enjoy doing, because if you enjoy it and are engaged with it, then the children are going to follow. Don't be afraid to make new traditions, even though you had perhaps a routine on Christmas mornings during the marriage or during the relationship. Don't be afraid to kind of mix it up a little bit. But I will say that if there are certain ingrained traditions that are very important to the children especially, then you know what? You can do them at your house as well. It doesn't have to be one house or the other. For example, when I was a child, one of our main traditions was making cinnamon rolls on Christmas morning. And that was something that I looked forward to every Christmas. It was not Christmas morning without waking up to cinnamon rolls and presents. And so that would be something that, I would have liked to have seen continued regardless of which parent's house I was at in the event my parents had divorced.
Yeah. I mean, that goes on so many levels. You think about, you're going to wake up to the smell, and you're always going to remember that smell. You're going to wake up to, what you're doing, enjoying it together, what it looks like. I mean, I think, again, it's about invoking permanent memories where, again, as you say, no matter where you are, you're looking forward to that event, no matter what's happening. And which leads us into a lot of these couples, they try and they give it a go to try to do something together, and it may not work for you. And I think that's both a do and a don't, right? You want to consider whether you don't feel compelled to do so, but maybe if you can, it's important to try to mix somewhat of a family unit together.
I think that the main consideration is where you are with your ex-partner in your relationship together. Because if the two of you are able to and put your feelings towards each other aside, then by all means, have a family gathering, open presents with one another. But if there is that tension, if there is that stress, if you are prone to arguing, then it's probably best that you plan your separate holiday gatherings with the children until which time as you guys are able to get along, because the kids are going to sense that tension. And it's going to stress them out on what should otherwise be a happy day or during a very happy period.
Right. I mean, and I think that too many people get caught up on, for me, and I mean, it's probably a legitimate argument for many, on the day, Christmas Day or Christmas Eve night or whatever it means. And if I don't get that, it's the end of the world. For me, we've got 5 kids, and they're scattered across the country, and one of them's remarried. And we've always told our kids, look, we can celebrate these holidays on any day. It doesn't have to be on the day. We'll be flexible. We're going to make that a special moment regardless of what the calendar says. So it could be a week later. So I think that maybe don't get so caught up on the number of days, the number of hours, the actual day. Just make it a quality time.
Oh, 100%. My dad was an airline pilot. And prior to that, he was in the military. So we've celebrated Christmas in April before, and it doesn't minimize how special the day is. And if the children aren't with you on Christmas Day, they're going to be having a Christmas experience with the other parents. So they're not missing out. And in fact, I always enjoy the times where we would have our family Christmas, a week after Christmas, because it allowed me to indulge in Christmas movies and Christmas music for an additional week. And it also kind of allowed me to go buy Christmas presents during the clearance sales after the holidays, which saved me some money as well.
Great idea.
Just think of it, it's not the holiday day, but it's your holiday day, and it's your time with the kids, and make it special regardless of what day it is.
And I think that's leading into the notion of, okay, let's say you don't have Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. It can be a very lonely time. It can be isolated. And, I think you have to make efforts to either find friends, find family, and surround yourself with other people, because it can lead to using other things as a crutch, something to try to numb yourself. Alcohol. Don't overdo it, no matter what, whether you're with them or not, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, first off, throughout this entire process, your mental health is important. Your physical health is important. And it's easy to forget that you're also necessary. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what I say to my clients all the time. So check in with yourself. If you are feeling lonely, if you are feeling the depression and sadness that, a lot of people feel regardless of what their relationship status is over the holidays, check in with the people you care about who care about you. And if you need to, seek mental health treatment. It's very important that you remain strong, not only for yourself, but for your children as well. Children tend to internalize things, and they tend to notice. And certainly, if you are in a custody situation where there's either an open custody litigation or you're negotiating custody or wherever you might be, even if you have a custody order, it is very important that you do not engage in behaviors that could detriment your ability to have time with your children. And so the holidays are not an excuse.
And that'd be leading into even promote the time with the other parent, meaning that, don't bad talk and say, or inquire, what'd you do? What did they do? What did they serve? Was she drinking? It's more of it being an uplifting experience. Hey, did you have a great time? I'm sure you did. Right?
Absolutely. Like, you want to support your child's experience with the other parent to the greatest extent possible. If they organically wish to tell you, hey, we were at mom's house and we made gingerbread houses, it's, oh, that sounds like so fun. What kind of house did you make? And then the conversation or the questions really need to stay at that level, at that positive level. And if the child wants to change if the child wants to change the conversation to something else, because kids are often like squirrels, let it go and move on with the child. It should come from the child, and it shouldn't come from, it shouldn't be the result of too many questions that you're asking, because that starts to put the child in a position where they're afraid to tell you things, because they don't want to be interrogated. It also can put children in a situation where they're afraid to tell you the good things, the things that are fun and positive for them, because they're worried that it's going to affect your mood. And we don't need our children to be our therapists. They're kids, and they deserve to have a happy childhood regardless of their parents' situation.
Yeah. I mean, it's saying to them, it's okay that you had an amazing time, or that you have an amazing time, because you should. And we don't need to compare my time with mom's time. It is what it is. It's special.
Yeah, children don't need to feel loyalty towards either parent over the other parent. They shouldn't feel bad if they enjoy spending time with mom or spending time with dad. They should be able to live in the moment and enjoy their time with both parents without fearing that it's going to negatively affect the other one.
And there's always this, I think, perhaps a tendency to fill the schedule, that we've got to be doing something all the time. I've got to outdo the other. I've got to make it, busy and with full of crazy activities, and it can be too much.
That's exactly right. I mean, the holidays are exhausting in general. But you'll find so much value and so much joy in the quiet times. Instead of rushing from one event to the other event, which you're going to have to do. I mean, there's so many children's, school plays or church events or whatever. Make sure that you take the time to just be at home, with the kids, and to let them rest and you rest and enjoy the quiet times with them, reading books or watching a holiday film. You don't have to be constantly on the go to make the holidays special.
Right. Or fill every second with conversation, because I always said, a friend once said to me, a good friend knows that silence is okay. Just being around each other, doing nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Just, speaking is also exhausting. Being an attorney after a full day in court, making the arguments, objecting.
Yep.
You're exhausted. So the silence is golden. And it's definitely something that should be a part of your holiday celebrations, is that quiet time.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes forced conversation feels just like that, and kids can see right through it. And I think just be yourself. I know it's new for everybody. So I think it's one of those things, you just kind of trip your way through it and be organically natural, and it'll be okay.
And children are going to respond so much better to that natural manner in which the parent is acting while they're with that parent. Again, like I said earlier, children pick up on things. They can sense a lot of things that we might not realize they can sense. And so the more organic and natural you are when you have the children, especially around the holidays, the more excited they're going to be about the holiday, the more happiness you're going to bring to their time with you. And it's going to be an all around a much better experience overall for them that they'll look forward to for the next year.
And it's be okay to make mistakes, because you're going to make them. That's okay. Don't be perfect. Again, another one that kids see right through when you're trying to be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, any mistake that is made that's not an intentional mistake out of meanness, or it wasn't intentionally done. If it's an actual mistake, an innocent mistake, then yeah, that's going to happen. Where you get into problems is when you're intentionally doing things to harm the other parent, or to do something to drive a wedge between the children and the other parent, or things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, we're people, and the courts understand that,
Yeah.
there are no perfect parents out there. Just try and be the best parent that you can be in this situation.
Yep.
And that's all you can do.
Right. Well, Stephanie, great stuff. Thanks for joining and kind of spreading some of the do's and the don'ts and giving everyone some ideas on where to go and what direction they should take. So thanks for joining today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Trout, and happy holidays.
Thank you as well. You too. So continue to join into this podcast. That is, obviously, we have another one if you have not heard of. It's Men's Divorce Podcast Live, where we actually go live. You can check it out on our social media, or you can go to our YouTube channel, or you can go to cordell.com to get more information. It's free to attend, but the benefit is you get to log in, log on, ask questions, and get answers live from a panel of Cordell and Cordell attorneys. So check us out. Also, check out all of our previous podcasts. If you haven't subscribed in iTunes or on YouTube, do that, and you get alerted every time we download one as well. If you need a consultation, you can go to cordell.com. You can schedule right from the website. You don't even need to pick up the phone. Enter your zip code. It'll locate an office nearest you. You can do it via Zoom. You can do telephone, in person, whatever's convenient for you. So until next time, have a happy holidays. See you then.